Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. April 19th, 2021. Can I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Okay, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval and or correction of the minutes of the regular meeting of March 15th. Do I have a motion to accept?
Albert?
Do I have a
Carmino, second.
Okay, Carmino second. Any discussion? Okay, I'll have a vote.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any principal, supervisor?
No, but we will next month. They're
Okay.
going to do the portrait of the graduate presentation as well as the career readiness presentation
Okay.
for us.
Wonderful. Any public participation? No? Okay. Treasurer's report, please.
Just a couple things. I just want to update you. We did receive our first half settlement in March. And again, our balances are looking really good at this point, but again, it's because we have deferred some of that, the balances are due to salary and benefits to some of the grants that we have, and especially with the new CARES Act. The other thing then is too with the cafeteria ending cash balance. It was negative 140,000 last month. If we had received the amount of money that we were supposed to have received in real time for federal reimbursement, it probably would have been around 100,000. So again, we're kind of hanging real steady to where I thought we'd have to transfer 110,000 from the general fund into the 006 fund. And that's all I have.
Okay. Motion to accept.
Albert?
Second.
Ledley.
Any discussion, questions? Okay, I'll have a vote.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes. Okay, superintendent's report.
I think the biggest piece that I have to report from this month outside of committee would be that the Hall of Fame inductees have been selected. So we have a board that meets probably 3 times a year, and we collect nominations. We review those nominations against a rubric, and then we make selections for each year for our Hall of Fame inductees. So this year it will be Scott Nelson Barrett, Mary Lou Johnson, and Fred McIntosh.
I'm going to pull this down. So I know a couple of the names on here might not be familiar. Mary Lou Johnson was a lady who lived in town, was a philanthropist, a very prominent member of the community, did a lot of work for the hospital. She helped to raise funds and was a large donor for the public library here in Kenton. In fact, the library is named after her. And she also donated her family home, which is now the museum. And then Fred McIntosh was a painter. He's mostly famous for paintings of Alaska, and did a lot of work with that. He actually did some work for Walt Disney, and did some kind of documentaries about Alaska and its wilderness and bringing awareness to the wilderness in Alaska. So that's just a little bit about that. All right. Board committee reports. Finance committee, please.
I don't have anything to report on
Okay.
this time.
We didn't meet this month.
Yep, we didn't meet
Right.
this month. Extracurriculars.
Sam, did you?
Sam, do you have anything?
Ooh, I didn't.
Doug
pull
will
it
get
up.
this.
I didn't pull it up. The biggest thing that we did meet, biggest thing that we're looking back to get some reevaluation is the new scoreboard for the football field. The one that we were looking at, we just had way too many bells and whistles, and it just wasn't something that we could move forward on.
Okay.
So we're back to the drawing board, looking for that, something that we need, it needs to be updated. But they're back to the drawing board, we're looking at that now.
Okay.
I'll report back once they get the new quotes in for that.
Okay.
I don't remember if there was anything else in that notes. Did you
No,
remember
that
anything,
was-
Jennifer? I think that was it, wasn't it? Yeah,
Pretty sure it was pretty quick.
yeah.
Okay. I just want to add to that. I was able to attend the musical last week.
Yeah.
The kids did a fabulous job. Thank you to Mr. DeQuino and his crew for all their hard work. We have an amazing musical program here at Kenton, and I was very impressed with the kids and how they were able to do everything in spite of all the COVID regulations. Next is Career Center. A lot of what they're doing is construction of the new facility. I do have on here that they had offered the old student lockers to partner schools, and Kenton was one of the first to request them. So that donation will be on their board's agenda, and that's really all I had for that. So policy committee.
Yeah, we did meet on April 12th. The majority of the meeting was actually really just updating some policies that we have to put us back in line with Neola. Obviously, we know Neola is the one that gives us guidelines and things that we have to make sure that our policies cover
Right.
every year, and it does change every year. So really it was just, and they are actually mentioned back in the program here in the agenda, 11K and I believe 11L, I think, where everything's listed. Not a lot of information there, but we're just making those changes to make sure that we're complying with what they require us to do.
Sounds good.
And that's all I have for that.
Awesome. I don't see any old business. So on to new business. Item 10, it looks like we have a lot of contract renewals. I do want to point out, let's see, on 10I, the retirement of Barry Bradford. She's been a physical education teacher. She's been with Kenton for 23 years, so we thank her for her service. And also, there was another one on here. Janet Billenstein. She's been KHS cook for 27 years. So thank you for your service. We really appreciate it.
And 10K.
10, which one?
Mary Kay Schreiber. 10K.
10K. Oh, yes, Mary Kay Schreiber. I'm sorry. KS Educational Assistant. 25 years as well. So a lot of good longevity there. And we appreciate everything that they've done over the years. So can I have a motion to approve, please?
Dick?
Second?
Carmen?
Okay. And one more thing before we take a vote. 10Q. What's that?
I'm just kidding.
I would just like to take a moment to thank Dr. Penzarski for her 11 years of amazing service for the district. She's done a lot for us. and has really been a guiding force over the last year, and we really appreciate all that she's done, and we're really going to miss her. I would start begging you please not to go, but I don't think that's going to do any good. So, yeah.
Okay.
So we wish you all the best, and thank you for everything that you've done for Kenton City Schools.
Thanks, Sheena. That really means a lot. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We may want to clarify the 10A, 10B, just so people understand, because we gave a shout out to Todd. He was actually hired as the assistant musical
Yes.
director, and he ended up doing the musical all himself.
Okay.
So we need to accept his resignation as assistant and
Yes.
pay
Pay
him
him to do it.
as the musical director. So I thought that one stuck out a little bit, that
Yep.
you might just want to know why that is the way it is. And I
Definitely.
think everything else is pretty self-explanatory. When we have transfers, internal transfers in the district, what happens is the principals interview those internal transfers and then approve or recommend for me for approval how they want to move people based on our staff's interest in positions. So you'll see those dominoes start happening now, where staff will be, an opening will come up and someone may want to apply. So you'll see some of that in here that might be different than last month's agenda. But again, I think everything else is pretty straightforward.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion, vote please?
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
All right. 11, authorizations and resolutions. I just want to point out 11A, Teacher Appreciation Week, which will be May 3rd through May 7th. A week is not enough. Thank you, teachers, for all that you do. We appreciate it. Let's see, anything else that sticks out? I don't see. 11J and 11K are the items that Doug was talking about. And 11L. Okay.
These are the guidelines.
What's that?
Yep.
Okay.
11 are the guidelines.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion to accept?
Albert?
Okay, Albert. Second, please.
Ledley.
Ledley. Discussion, questions?
Just know, 11J we don't see very often, so maybe I'll just walk you through that so
Okay.
that everyone understands. In our board policy, when there's an appeal, it's the board or their designee. Typically, the superintendent hears those appeals, but the board has the responsibility to decide if they're going to hear an appeal or if I will hear the appeal.
Okay.
And so what you're seeing in 11J is that designation. I mean, I don't think I've seen that for 10 years, to be honest. So just so that everyone understands what that means and what that is. But I think everything else, as Sheena shared, is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, can I have a vote, please?
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Okay. Approve a motion to go into executive session to consider the employment of a public employee or official. After that, there were no further actions of the board. Time in is 7:14. Can I have a motion, please?
Albert?
And a second?
Carmine?
Carmine? Have a vote?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Yes.
Okay.